Try it here, Ricky.
And he's committed. So the head fake is so you hope the driver you're trying to pass thinks that you're taking this spot or you're close enough that you're to his inside, and he gives up that lane on corner entry.
Justin Marks still fighting over 6th place with Smith. It looks like down here, Smith will be able to secure the position as they head into turn 4. Jim?
Well, David, looks like the handling of Regan Smith's car is vastly improved from what he had in qualifying. He was kind of frustrated after the morning session. Said the back end of the car did not feel right. They said that when they started out, they were going to make some changes. They've already called for the changes they will make on the first pit stop. But Regan Smith radioed in and said the car much better than it felt this morning.
And don't forget how good Regan was at Road America before the wet weather. He was having a really good day. And the rain and everything associated with that kind of killed his effort there.
It's true, but let's also remember that he was haunted by how things went here last year. He was a championship contender until Mid-Ohio 2013. Really upset the apple cart. And I think he's come back here just a little more composed, relaxed. He's all weekend long, as I said earlier, he's been stealth-like, just going about his business, not pushing the issue. Again, Chris Buescher here looks really solid. You know, the most valuable aspect of being a young driver and running up front is that you learn from the best. You see things running top 5 that you don't see running 15th. In fact, in 15th, you can learn some bad habits.
This is for 3rd, so hopefully good habits only out of Alex Tagliani as Chris Buescher is putting on the pressure. Giving him a look, but is he really going to do anything back here, Ricky?
Well, whether he does something or not, he's hoping to preoccupy Alex Tagliani so that he's mirror watching, goes offline, opens the door, and he'll jump through.
So those instructors in our feature talking on the radio, looking in the mirror, and doing everything. These drivers can multitask big time, but it does take you off your game a little bit.
I just discovered why I was really not that good at this type of racing. That multitasking, that was it.
All of the above. Well, multitasking his way to the front is Brian Scott. He's led every lap so far here at Mid-Ohio. He comes by to complete start lap number 13. Some action on track here from Dylan Kwasniewski. Ooh, late braking in turn 4.
Yeah, just too much speed. Didn't get the car slowed down enough and just couldn't execute the corner.
And covered the grill with grass. We saw that a lot last week at Watkins Glen. And while running 14th, Kwasniewski is off and losing spots. See if he'll have to bring it down pit road and see if that car is overheating, because that's the biggest issue right there, Ricky. The grill is now green.
Yeah, we're not close to a fuel stop yet, and the windows are 30 and 60. They can make this race in 2 stops if they can get to lap 30.
So Brian Scott is your leader. Kwasniewski motors around. The 2 is at the head of the field. 3 drivers looking for their first win in the top 4 right now here at Mid-Ohio. Come back and see if anyone can catch Scott. Back with you at the Nationwide Children's Hospital 200, where the lead is getting hot right now. Brian Scott under pressure from Sam Hornish and Alex Tagliani right with him.
Yeah, it's concerning if you're a member of the 2 team here, because as Sam gets into him so hard, he spins the rear tires. But the 2 car is really struggling getting the car to turn really slow through the middle of the corner.
And that gave Tagliani the room that he needed to get by Hornish. The accordion effect, they call that. And Chris Buescher's right there.
Yeah, it's about timing and making that move in the right place, and that probably wasn't the best place. But Sam Hornish was so much faster, he was trying to seize the opportunity.
So Scott gets a little bit of breathing room right now from Hornish, who now has it's Tagliani between them. And you can see the lead that Brian Scott has as Chris Buescher's starting to put pressure on Sam. What a great run by Buescher.
Yeah, he's done everything right so far. And, you know, I joking earlier about report cards come out later. You know, one of the things, there'll be a category on the report card for staying on the track. It sounds simple, but it is the primary objective.
We showed earlier in our feature the school in Nevada that some drivers use. Well, these Ford drivers often head out to Utah, and Chris was out there with his Sprint Cup and Nationwide teammates doing some training earlier this year. So he's had a lot of time on the track. Little different, and of course the third race of 3 road course races for the Nationwide Series this year. So he's had a chance to improve every time.
You can tell how hard a driver's working to make a pass based on if they do or do not drag the left front, right front tire. If they drag the left front tire, right front tire on corner entry, it means they're carrying the brake in really deep into the corner. And you're going to ask more out of the car than it can give you. I haven't seen that out of Chris Buescher.
Doing fine right now in 4th. Again, Hornish just moments ago was pressuring for the race lead with Brian Scott, and Brian's car very slow through the last few corners of the track. Sam had to back off. Alex Tagliani got by for second.
It's amazing when there's no longer a driver occupying your mirror how much better your car drives, because you can get back to hitting your marks and just focusing on the racetrack. And that's what's happened with Brian Scott.
And of course now we see Sam with Chris Buescher all over him. He's got that mirror driving thing going on. Vince?
Well, the 60 of Chris Buescher, you know, his weekend's got to be better than it was a week ago at Watkins Glen. They lost a motor in practice, then lost another one at the race, but he had actually run really well in that race at Watkins Glen leading up to that engine failure. But this is a team that has typically run better than the results have shown over the big picture, so expecting good things from him down the road, and certainly it's been that kind of weekend. They've been fast since they rolled off the trailer. It's good to see him having a strong run here early. Pressuring Hornish, who says he just doesn't have the rear grip he needs.
Yeah, it's really been a great start to the race, but it's a confidence booster for Chris Buescher.
8th in the championship now after missing the first race of the season at Daytona. That team has turned things around. Justin Marks is the first of the real players here this weekend to hit pit road. Rick?
And he's not doing it because he wants to. He does it doing it because they're concerned about the engine. The heat water temperature is going up, and I look on the front of the car and I can see they've collected a lot of grass in the grill. They're going to have to scrape that off. They're getting Sunoco fuel in. They're doing the other things they normally do, but an awful lot of grass coming off the front of this car, and they're sending them back out. But that's why the water temperature was going up.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Rick. The consequence for not pitting is that you're going to lose the engine. So it's a price you got to pay. It's 10 laps earlier than they would like, but you got to do it if you're going to finish this race.
He was running 6th at the time, and now Shannon Rush will have to go to work on strategy for Marks. Elliott Sadler and Chase Elliott at it.
And they are mixing it up in the most difficult, challenging part of the course, up to the S's.
Chase Elliott just a position ahead of where he started the day. Remember, our championship leader coming in. Here's how they pointed out on the road course races this season. Jeremy Clements. Always good on the road courses, we have found lately.
Riding along with Trevor Bayne, and Trevor told me yesterday, he said, I had a miserable Watkins Glen, and I just don't know why or how I got into so many messes, but I have come here with a clear mind, and so far we're getting it. I mean, he's being more careful, I think, more calculated. You want to bide your time through that portion of the racetrack, and if you're Trevor Bayne, you want to set up here or coming out of the keyhole going into turn 4.
His next victim would be Elliott Sadler, and that for the 9th position. Back up front, Brian Scott continues to lead. He's got the front of the field over Tagliani, Hornish, and Chris Buescher. Danger lurks at every corner around here. Kenny Hubble only knows that so well in the 20 car. Got into the trap in turn 4, was able to drive his way through and get that 20 car back on track after a little bit of wheel hop. So the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, a great venue so far for Brian Scott. Tune in Sunday night on ESPN as John Lester takes the mound in Atlanta against Freddie Freeman and the Braves. Oakland at Atlanta on Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. That's 8 Eastern on ESPN. You can also catch it live on Watch ESPN. So we saw Kenny Hubble in the 20 off into the gravel trap and through it, Ricky. Does that do anything harmful to the car?
Well, it doesn't help. The risk is that you compromise the radiator, you plug up the front grille. You can also get rocks in between the rotor and the caliper, the brake system. Obviously, that was a big enough hit to mess up the very front of the car, the splitter. I've heard drivers complain their cars drive like a dump truck, but that one was being used as a dump truck. And when you get into the gravel area, the tendency is to not lift because you want to get through, right? You don't want to be stuck in it.
Kenny Hubble, the extremely successful businessman with his company sponsor on the car here, drove his own car last week, driving the Joe Gibbs racing car this week, which he refers to as a Cadillac in comparison. Trying to round out his day, nearly 3 wide for the 9 car of Elliott Sadler. Trevor Bayne taking that spot away from Elliott Sadler. That's 9th.
Yeah, a little wave saying thank you. We'll see you down the road. 31, Dave, I think, is coming back to pit road for a pass-through penalty, speeding.
He was too fast on pit road. Of course, these cars are timed over distance on pit road, and Justin Marks, not a lot of experience in this series, has to watch his tachometer. He was too quick, so no service to the car. And we see Elliott Sadler off track on your right.
That was a big save. He actually, I'm not sure if that was a wheel hop or if he actually...
You're back on. You're all clear.
I'm not sure what happened there.
Clear by 4.
That was a
over the
big
42.
save.
Turn 6 for Elliott Sadler. He was running in the 9th position. And he's back on course now and at speed.
And he's going to be coming to pit road. He is covered up on the front grille.
Here's what happened, Ricky.
Coming down. Wow, just too much wheel spin. And again, that's a portion of the racetrack. You're not going to win the race, but you could lose it. He saved his championship chances right there. Some great driving.
Just a hard left immediately.
Yeah, and it's your second gear. A lot of torque to the rear tires. We're 23 laps into the race. These tires are worn. It looks ugly, but it was a really good piece of driving.
You're back on. You're all clear.
Got Elliott's attention in a hurry, and he will fall back now to the 11th position. Just lost a couple of spots there. So let's hear what's going on with Ty Dillon in the 3. I'll tell you what, right now he's getting passed for 7th, but the crew was in communication with their driver.
We're running out of gas again.
So 24 laps in, Ricky. Qualifying earlier today, they do have a chance to refuel them now before the race, so light on fuel for some reason?
Yeah, there's just something going on where the car's not picking up fuel because he should be able to go 30 laps, even 32 laps on a tank of fuel. We're going to get inside our fuel window here. If we get a lot of caution, some of these drivers, teams can gamble, come in now, 25 laps in. But they're going to depend on a lot of cautions if they pit now. I'm thinking the window, 28 to 32 on that first stop.
So Ty Dillon perhaps in some trouble, maybe feeling some sputtering in that 3 car. And speaking of things coming in 3s, look at the front of the field. It's tightened back up between Scott Tagliani and Hornish.
I expect the 11 car to come to pit road, and here he is, Dave, because of that grass on the front. Jim, what do you got?
Well, Ricky, even before that excursion into the grass, Elliott Sadler had been worried about overheating, and then, of course, then he went in again. So they had a cool box ready before that to try to get some water in the radiator. Looks like they feel the grill is clear. They're going to put 4 tires. Elliott needs to be tighter on right turns, looser on the left turns, guys.
Thank you, Jim. The lead was really, really fun right there while Elliott Sadler was getting his fuel and tires.
It's not a gentleman's game, okay? You get these 3 drivers hungry for the lead. Getting physical's okay. You know, there's obviously a line, but these tires are worn out. They're not really fun to drive right now.
And Brian Scott did a good job of defending his territory. He has led every lap here this afternoon, 24 of them, working lap 25 right now. With those guys in his mirrors, Brian able to hang on to it.
Some great driving. Really, I mean, to see 3 cars under a blanket here, 26 laps into a 30-lap run.
So another speeding penalty on pit road, Ricky. That was for Elliott Sadler. He was too fast on pit road, and Vince has a 60.
That's Chris Buescher. Car still a little bit tight, turning left and turning right, so it's going to be an air pressure adjustment.